Shorts underneath there.
Do the pledge CD, please.
Yeah. What are you protesting? Give me the look that we're ready to go.
Yeah, I'm like he's.
Thank you.
Dress codes.
Yeah, Niles gave me the thumbs up. Okay, good. All right, you guys. In honor of Jay, welcome aboard, everybody. It's December 4th, a Monday, and it's the first meeting of December. In fact, it's the only meeting of December as far as it stands right now. So thanks for everybody being here. We've got in the house Town Manager Wade Yost, Town Assistant Manager Niles Anderegg. We've got a celebrity sighting with our town attorney here today in the flesh. Thank you, Jay. Jay Gullo is here. Ed Reed, Sarah is here alongside Martin. Jeff is joining us online. Jeff, can you hear me? There you go. Good. Man, I love this sound system.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Oh, awesome. And several people in the audience. So if you don't mind, Martin, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under
Republic for
God,
which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jeff comes in via satellite.
Yes.
All right, good job. Thanks, Jeff. I heard you loud and clear. All right. Tonight, we've got a couple of big ones to hit that we're going to tackle in a minute, but first we've got our commissioner announcements and committee reports. My name's at the top of the list, so I'll go first tonight. Today, we had celebrated the future retirement of Bobby Evans, and thanks to Martin and Ed for showing up. Sarah, I know you couldn't make it, but you were there in spirit. Same thing with you, Jeff. It was a great day, and we heard from everybody, past commissioners, town staff. Again, Jay made it up. Town engineer John Strong was there, but wow, we just had a lot of fun, and Bobby got many presentations and a lot of accolades. Our council member Marilyn Balcom was here too, and she had some great things to say. Again, as did some of our commissioners, Gary Hartz, Jerry, Eddie, that have been such a part of the scene with Bobby. So we had a fantastic day today. Wanted to give you one update on the co-op. So we've got, Link and I have put together a list, and Link's here now. He can talk about it if he wants to, and I haven't really had a chance to review what we've put together, but we have a strategy to help create that first board. So you'll be hearing more on that. We did have a successful meeting. I think we did speak about this at the last meeting with potentially getting how we could get it funded through various county and state means, but needless to say, the co-op just continues to march forward at its own pace, and so we'll be keeping that going. That's all I have for today. You guys can fill in the blanks because we've probably all been at the same event, so if I'm missing something, let me know.
So people have asked me, like, are we for sure moving forward with the co-op? Or are we still in the phase of, like, feeling it out and seeing what we're going to do? Because I know a lot of people are very excited about it.
The main thing that I think the takeaway is that we've heard from all people that have run them, from Lovettsville to Frederick number 2, is that it's important to be prudent. It doesn't mean go slow, but it's important to be prudent and continually work on, like, lining up your ducks on how it can all come together. So the next phase that we're working on will be, again, and I know we've probably heard about this for months, or a couple months at least, is establishing that initial board that will also help set the direction. Now, we know we've spent taxpayer money, right? We've done a study, and we've also we've conducted a market study, and we had a pro forma created. So we're on the hook. The town has contributed, and the plan is to not have that money go wasted. In fact, it's been proven that it looks, from at least what we've developed so far, that we're still something that's worth moving forward on. So prudent, as fast as you need to go. It took the Lovettsville Co-op 10 years to get off the ground. There's no way we want it to be something like that. We want it to be a lot faster. But the next couple of moves that we'll be making will be pretty instrumental, and we'll decide at that point, really, how's it going to work? Because we're going to have to raise money.
Sure.
So, and then the people that are going to be on this initial board, they're going to have to be our fundraisers, and we're also going to determine what our structure is so that board can function efficiently and progressively towards some sort of end. So it is, it's the residents have a very good point about, like, okay, great, we keep hearing about it, what's happening? They're going to hear from us here soon with a kind of a trying to figure out who's going to be the right mix of people that'll be team players. You've got there's people in this room that could be contributory, but at the same time, we all have jobs, and we also do this job. And so it's really going to be finding the right mix of people that can potentially take us to this next level, and then we'll go from there. So, does that answer it?
Absolutely does, thank you.
Okay. Martin, go ahead.
So my committee report is going to be very short and sweet. Planning Commission has not met in several weeks. We are going to, due to meet a week from Wednesday, not tomorrow. As usual, the comprehensive plan will be on the agenda, and we think that we are in the very final stages of that, and it should be wrapped up soon. And then for announcements, as Jim alluded to, it was a very nice event for Bobby today. We all wished her well and wished Maggie well in her new role coming up. And then I don't think we ever talked about this at the last meeting. I'm not even sure how long ago it was, but Jim and I attended the Bassett's ribbon cutting a while back, which was nice, to see it get up and running again. It's, of course, been open for a little while, but, and so that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, good. Update on do you want to give us an update on the Planning Commission and the comprehensive plan?
Well, just like I said, the comprehensive plan will be on the agenda, and I would anticipate, and Wade, step in here if I'm wrong, that probably we will have something to give to the commissioners by January, I would think.
Yeah, I think we're going to be shooting for January to get something out to that 60-day review period. Right now, we have the content. We worked a long time last week just doing all the final edits, getting squared away. We're waiting for Wallace Montgomery to go ahead and put in some of the tables, some of the formatting, headers, all that type of thing, so we can have a nice package to go forward to the Planning Commission to approve and move forward. So we're hoping that we're going to have it next Wednesday, but we're going to make sure that it's right and not rush it.
I don't think it's any exaggeration to say it's 95% or so done. I mean, it's close.
Oh, yeah, I think content was
Yeah.
there. Absolutely.
And Jay, is that something you get to review at one point or another here, like in the soon part?
Just certain sections.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
And we'll need this board to take a good look at it, because I'm sure it won't be absolutely 100% perfect, and we may have a little feedback and change this paragraph, get rid of this paragraph, and that'll be helpful. But I think you're going to like the final product. I think it's pretty good.
Good. Looking forward to it. Thanks for that, Martin. Appreciate it. Ed?
Do I need to push?
You don't need to, just go ahead.
Okay, well, let's see, Sustainable Poolesville. So we met on the 29th of November, and some of the discussion was still looking at options for composting and just doing research around different communities to see what they're doing. And so we're still doing some research there. As I get more information, I'll share more information with this group, but I just want you to know it's on that radar. Recertification for the sustainability comes up after the first of the year, and so want to make sure that we got everything lined up for that piece. Another thing that came up in the meeting was, the question was asked, who's responsible for the businesses in the area doing if they recycle, and so I told Don that he could reach out to you to get that question answered. So at some point he'll reach out to you. Then we'll have our next meeting. It might get moved to January. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. In terms of announcements, the Maryland Municipal League, the Montgomery County chapter, we had a meeting on the 30th, this past 30th, last week, with the superintendent and members of the board and some of the exec staff. And so we talked about what's happening at MCPS, and they went over student achievement, what's happening in regards to student achievement. They have some early indicators that things are starting to move in a more positive direction. We talked about public safety in terms of what's happening with some of the schools. As you might have seen some things in the news lately, certain schools have had some more severe challenges than others. And then talked about just staffing in terms of, as you know, nationwide, there's that teacher shortage, and looking at what the school system's doing to make sure it doesn't, seeing what the school system can do to maximize the staffing that's necessary in all schools. But it was a productive meeting. Jim was able to attend that meeting as well.
Yeah, that was a great meeting with, anytime you have the Montgomery County School Superintendent, not only giving statements, but but having a Q&A on some really difficult times. I mean, she's a trooper, and so I thought she was outstanding, and so was Seth, and the other players that are involved with the county and the development of the school system. So that was a really, actually, and credit to MML for setting up the format, and Ed for hosting, and then for asking all the right questions. So it was a very good session, surprisingly good. I mean, I didn't have low expectations, but it was really good.
And so it's nice for them to see Poolesville, be representing Poolesville, being able to serve as a facilitator for the meeting, and so it always helps. All the work that's been done prior to even being here and making sure Poolesville is really looked at as a serious place. So it was good, good meeting. That's it. So I'll pass it to Sarah.
Passed.
As far as announcements, just a shout out to Kathy Bupp and all the town staff for a fantastic holiday lighting event on Friday night. We were all there.
Jeff was gonna
It
get it.
was just so fun. Despite a little rain earlier in the day, we had a great turnout and a wonderful lineup of performers. And anyways, it was one of the highlights of our year. So well done. Okay, for Fair Access Committee. Update on the community center. We had a briefing right before Thanksgiving from the facilities planning, county facilities planning, I don't know if they're called committee, Greg Assant. And he kind of showed us the outcome of all of their individual meetings that they had with each of the different stakeholders in Poolesville, like the Poolesville Moms Group or the Poolesville Seniors, and had a sort of design plan for if we included exactly what everybody requested, here's what it would look like. And so we got to see sort of the dream house. And then we had a little reality check of like, that will never get built. So where could we potentially make cuts so that we are looking at something that could realistically be funded? So this was sort of a preview, an initial preview, and we expect, I think, January. Is that about right, Link? To have an official proposal that we can share with the public that is a little bit pared down, but more realistic. And part of that very much includes space for a health clinic, and lots of space for sports. There's a gym, there's like small events space. So we think it's going to come together with a really fantastic product for our community and have early indications that the county executive is supportive, and so we're optimistic that this is going to continue to move forward. Let's see. As we prepare for those upcoming budget conversations, we did send out a muster email. This is sort of the Fair Access Committee's email listserv that we send out to community members to ask for people to send emails in support of different things. It worked very effectively for getting the new high school, the funding for the new high school, and we're hoping that we can continue to have folks in the community send emails in support for the funding for this community center. So far, we've had a little over 100, maybe 120 emails sent. There's a lot more people in Poolesville and also the surrounding area. This would be a Western County community center, and so really we would love support from the entire Western County in sending in emails to the county executive. So if you want to be a part of that, there's a Fair Access Committee link on the town website, and you can sign up to be a part of getting those muster emails. Also, we are repeatedly posting that on Facebook and the like, so that you can look out for a link there as well. Link is working with WUMCO on new funding proposal for a rural healthcare initiative to support the clinics going forward. Again, we have really good support from the county executive and from several of our county council members. So that looks like it's moving forward. We have our big holiday event, December 14th at Locals. And we have around 40 local leaders who have already RSVP'd. So that will be likely a big success. And then I think the final update would be, we've been talking about bus routes and how to help improve the public transportation access out here. There was a proposal to make some changes on bus route 76. It would extend the route to Crossvines in order to help workers and visitors get to the venue. We have been writing letters to amend that proposal so that it can also focus on the rest of the needs within Poolesville and the surrounding area. So that would be increasing the timings that the bus route would come out of Poolesville, and hopefully also extend the route so that we can help more of our community members who don't have private cars have access, in particular, to healthcare services. So that's something that we're working on. Yeah, and that's it. That's my update.
Wow.
A lot going on.
That's plenty. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Sarah, good stuff. Any questions for Sarah?
Nope.
I think everybody's pretty much tuned in on what we're up to, so that's good stuff. Thank you. Jeff, are you ready to do Parks, Recreation, and Streets, and your own reports?
Yes, I have a couple of announcements first. First, I would like to thank everybody who came to the Breakfast with Santa on this past Saturday, December the 2nd, at the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station. It was a huge success, so thank you very much. And of course, Santa heard the wishes of many of the young girls and boys who were there, so thank you very much. Also, I want to remind everybody that the toy collection boxes are placed in a variety of spots around Poolesville and Dickerson and Barnesville and Crossvines included, and Locals and many other spots. So hopefully you've seen those boxes and you can start filling them up with toys. All those toys will then be delivered to WUMCO, and WUMCO will organize the toys and deliver them to families throughout our area. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but I want to congratulate Bobby Evans on her upcoming retirement and her contributions to the town of Poolesville throughout the many years. So thank you very much, Bobby. Also want to say that the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station is having its annual traditional Santa ride. So Santa will be riding around Poolesville atop the fire engine, and that is on Saturday, December the 16th. So we very much look forward to that. I also want to kind of tag on to what Sarah was saying about the POR, the Program of Requirements for the Western County Community Center, and we had a meeting with the Department of Planning, I guess it was, and I was very encouraged by them. Of course, very important to keep on saying, even though you can say that you're encouraged by the report, that no final decision, there's no commitment on spending money just yet. A couple more things here, so let me switch over to my other screen. So I also want to remember the more than 2,400 service men and women who were killed in the Pearl Harbor. That's coming up here, the anniversary on December the 7th. So we should keep all of those service persons in our mind. Also, I want to wish our Jewish community happy Hanukkah. I know that starts this week. And I think it starts on December the 7th. So happy Hanukkah to all of those folks. And also the Montgomery County, on Monday, December the 11th, the Montgomery County Aging and Disability Resource Unit is going to be at the Maggie Nightingale Library. So it's the Poolesville Library from noon until 3 o'clock, so until 3 p.m. to answer any questions from, let's say, senior citizens like myself, regarding disabilities and caregivers and housing and transportation and any topic that you might want to cover. And we'll just see if I have any other. Oh, and regarding my report, so I don't actually have a Parks Board report because our Parks Board meeting is on Wednesday. And Niles, I'm trying to arrange transportation, so I'll actually be there in person. So we'll see how that works out. And I think that is, I believe that is it. Thank you.
Do we know what's on the agenda for the Parks Board?
Yeah, so there's two main items. One is from the conversation at the last commissioners' meeting about the dog park and sort of safety issues related to, or safety questions around lights and things like that. And then there's also, one of the ongoing topics is sidewalks and prioritizing sidewalks either to be repaired or added. And so there'd be a discussion of that follows on work that was done in 2019.
Good stuff. Anybody have any questions for Jeff, Niles, Wade? I'd love to see it if we get the chance. I've been walking a lot lately. I have no idea, and we don't have to hash it over now, but the sidewalk between like K2 Cafe and up to the corner by Liberty where literally hundreds of high school kids walk, there's no sidewalk there. What refresh me, what did we do that, I never said, we're not building that sidewalk, did I?
No,
I hope not. What happened?
after the road takeover, because it wasn't our,
Right.
it wasn't our road.
Yeah.
I think the ball just was dropped. It's not been picked up since then. That, we might not have the right-of-way and easements there. I need to check on that. But
Yeah.
there's something else there. There's a stormwater drainage issue in that area also.
Are you trying to name like every single obstacle there might be
No,
that's in there?
it's all popping back in my head.
Stormwater, say right.
You asked.
Telephone pole. Yeah, 2 telephone poles.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously, it's like, I think that's exactly what we did. We focused on the road takeover, got the road takeover, thought about, and I was trying to think about while I'm walking where we, potentially we were, this is a good excuse and probably not the right one, but that we were potentially waiting for the high school construction to, wrap itself up because we know that road's just being destroyed, every day by heavy traffic. And that like, maybe we were thinking we're going to redo that whole area right there leading from Fisher Avenue all the way down to the high school. Does that sound good?
It does sound good.
Yeah. Yeah, is that what everybody remembers? Yeah, okay.
Tell you what, as you're thinking about that safety, you just made me think about the high school kids, and now their games are starting this week. Like they have wrestling tomorrow, they have basketball on Friday, and with it being dark, and I'm just thinking about that pedestrian safety, especially when the games are over and the kids are trying to walk to different places. So
I
that's
think there is a sidewalk there across the street from the high school.
yeah.
So there is. That's not.
That's the
You know,
one that
they
we actually,
disperse out.
But then it ends.
Right.
at
Right.
It ends at K2.
K2.
IK2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
whole corner there doesn't have sidewalk.
And it's also it's pretty beat up and pretty sloshy. Like it wouldn't be like it was like good old pounded grass like we have out here in the main field. So I was really surprised. And now a lot of kids will veer to the side and go by the parking lot that goes underneath where the bank used to be. Go it that way. But to get up to the corner and then go right, that's really kind of a
We
crap.
can definitely bring it to the Parks
Yeah.
Board, definitely.
Mhm. I'll add it.
Radar.
Yeah, Jeff, I didn't mean that. You guys probably were planning on talking about it, but that's when it's like a glaring example of like, well, I can't remember why we didn't do anything about that.
And I believe it is on the inventory from 2019. I just want to check if we had any further conversations with that, and we'll talk to you.
Can we get an update at the next meeting?
Yeah.
And I'll close it off with that. But and I know there's challenges because there are a couple of telephone poles and there's probably easement issues. And what were the other ones that you said?
Water drainage.
Water drainage, stormwater management, easements. Right, gotcha. Anyway, Jeff, you can help them sort all that out, okay?
Will do.
Yeah.
So, and since we brought up the high school and sports, just want to encourage people and those who are watching to go out and support our high school kids with those different games.
Yeah.
And so it's always nice to pack the place, even if the gym is small, still pack it in, as the kids would really benefit from supporting all the different events, not just one popular one, but all the different events that our local kids are doing.
Yeah, yep. I know, especially, I give our kids a lot of credit. I've been talking to a lot of like sophomores and juniors, man, they've been living in the war zone for the whole time. They're troopers, man, because that school is rough for those guys to get in and out. They're doing the best job they can, but it's something else. So yeah, the least we can do is hopefully put a sidewalk in for them. They can knock the dirt off their feet, from all the other construction before they get back. Anyway, okay, good stuff. Jeff, thanks for the report on that. I appreciate it. Any questions for Jeff? Sorry to interrupt that with that, but it just reminded me. Public comment. we have one person signed up. It is Jerry Klobakowski. He didn't get enough swings at the bat earlier today, so he's going to come back in today and swing it one more time. I want to play that. Remember the music that they used to play when Don Rickles came on Johnny Carson? I'll play it for you. Just reminds me when you take that stroll up there.
No, I'm usually used to hearing the national anthem and Navy hymn.
I like that too. Right? I know. You guys. That's okay.
Jerry Klobakowski,
I only sang
17300
this one.
Fletchall Road,
Okay, 'cause I'm like,
Poolesville, Maryland.
you know what you're talking about.
With respect to the pesticide law, just because the county passes something, I don't necessarily believe we should automatically adopt something. I think the lawn care services in Poolesville and throughout the county follow the best economic practices that will ensure, one, the lawns that they care for, they do a good job, and don't go around and just dump a ton of stuff to make them look better. I think most, if not all, homeowners read directions and can follow them and use the pesticides or the fertilizers in accordance with the directions that are on the bags or the bottles. I go out and I use it, and sometimes even Roundup doesn't work on some of this stuff. So I have a problem with us just jumping into something that, just because the county adopted something, we automatically need to rush to it. And I understand the concerns of people about their health, their children's health, succeeding generations' health. However, I firmly believe that a lot of this stuff has to do with your total life experiences, and not all of them because you came here to Poolesville and people were putting pesticides on their lawns or fertilizers. So I really don't understand why we're adopting this thing. And also the fact that having called a couple different, garden centers, if you want to use the corn and gluten stuff, it ain't cheap. It's almost $50 a bag, only covers 1,000 square feet. And as Julie Coleman pointed out, it seems like animals and pests like it. So what are you doing? It's like, my lawn is about 8,000 square feet. You do the math and you figure out how much it would cost to do corn and gluten and put it down 2 or 3 times a year. So I really have a problem with that. And by the way, people are going to go, as long as the Home Depot, Lowe's, those sort of stores and garden centers sell the product, they're going to go out and use it because it's going to be economically easier and cheaper to use than going out and spending a ton of money on corn gluten. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was, with respect to White's Ferry, has anybody checked into any sort of conflict of interest that the Board of Supervisors of Loudoun County might have with respect to their vote and their intransigence on moving forward with opening up the landing at White's Ferry? I find it, I have this nagging thing in the back of my mind that it's not all worried about how much traffic would go through there. And so anyways, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. Hope you all have a healthy, Happy New Year. And it's nice to see this, what's your name again, the attorney? Jay Gullo? Not Gallo. Oh, you're not the wine guy. All right, Gullo. Yeah.
It's like Santa Claus.
Yeah. Whether we want to or not. But anyways, thank you all and have a good evening.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Jerry, thanks for being here.
Appreciate that and appreciate your contribution today as well. Okay, very good. So public comment out of the way. We have minutes from the meeting that we held on November 20th. I'm not sure, Jeff, were you at that meeting on November 20th? I don't think so. Right? No? Anybody? Help me.
I don't think he was here.
Jeff, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't
Were you
believe,
at the meeting on November 20th? I don't think you were.
I believe I missed that. I was in Europe.
Yep. Got it. Okay, but everybody else was. All right, somebody gave me a nod over there. I'll take it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from November 20th.
Second?
Motion made to approve the minutes on November 20th by Martin, second by Sarah. Anybody questions, corrections? Wade has something
Jeff
to.
was here because he brought you all chocolate.
Oh, that was after his trip?
That's right.
That's true. You brought Belgian chocolate for us, Jeff.
Sorry.
There you go.
I
had my dates mixed up, absolutely, sure.
Okay, good. Well, that's, we still keep the direction going here. So we have a motion and we have a second. We have a remembrance of chocolate. Is there any other questions beyond that? So Jeff, you are eligible to vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Opposed? None? Okay, the minutes have been, for November 20th, have been approved. Old business, Montgomery County pesticide law. So, just to kind of set the table, and then I'm going to have a general discussion amongst the commissioners with, along with town staff. As you guys know, I know that we had meetings about this back, today we kind of reconstructed this. We talked about this back in 2015 as a body, which I think I was the only person that was around then, along with Wade. And then we revisited again in 2020 as a body. And then we had two previous meetings to this one as a body. First meeting did not have much discussion about it, which definitely opened us up to legitimate criticism about that we didn't have as much transparent thought and conversations on it with our residents. We've had a lot of information that has been, that we've had a chance to read up on. And it's been from all sources, for the people that absolutely hate pesticides, all the way to the people that say, yeah, they make a lot of sense and they have a legitimate spot in our town. We've heard from the scientists. We've heard from folks that work with us on sustainability in Poolesville. And we've had a lot of reading material. So it's not just that that we've taken the testimony from the people in the audience, but we've heard from the experts, and we've all had a chance to do our own studying on it. So I want to, I know this may still not be good enough for some people to think that we have rushed into the decision that we've already made, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that we've worked hard on this now, and we've actually devoted some serious time to it. That being said, it's back on the it's back on the agenda for tonight, and it's here for a reason, and that is for the commissioners to digest the information that we received at the last meeting. We were here for 3 hours talking primarily about pesticides and their application and the law that we adopted. So we're here now. I still want to have more discussion on this, and I want to hear from the commissioners to let us know what you think about the presentations that were made and and the direction that we've already taken. And is there going to be a sentiment to walk this back potentially and look at it again from a code perspective? So as of now, you guys know we've adopted the Montgomery County Code, and the question is, through discussion tonight, do we want to continue with that, or are we looking to potentially open it up? And if we were to open it up, yeah, I'll get you, Jeff, you can open. And if we do open it up, then we're going to have to figure out what the ramifications of that are. If we decide not to open it back up, I do have a direction. I did circulate like a memo of understanding to the commissioners. It was just what my thoughts would be on it, nothing to be voted on or discussed outside of the meeting, so I will be discussing them transparently tonight. So Jeff, do you want to lead us off, buddy?
Well, yes, I just want to say a couple of things. And I've probably said this 10 times already in emails, and that I think the number one priority for me is the quality of water that Poolesville literally sits on top of, and of course the health and safety of the residents and the children that drink that water, comes right out of the tap. But we have received quite a bit of very useful and I want to say objective information, and I emailed Wade earlier today, and I don't know if we have the answer to the question. And the question that I emailed to Wade, and I think I copied everybody anyway on the email, was has there been? Do we know if there's pesticides currently in our drinking water? And because that was brought up by a gentleman who I think is very qualified for what's the Fine Earth Landscape, he sent that email. And to me, that makes a big difference. If there is pesticides in the water, the way I sit here at this very moment, I'm not in favor of overturning our decision, and I do agree that we may have made this decision hastily. It doesn't necessarily mean we made the wrong decision, but I do agree we maybe didn't have all the pieces to the puzzle, at the moment that we did, kind of, raise our hand and all agree. So if there's an opportunity to get more information, for me, it would have to be overwhelming information that shows there is no pesticides in the water for me to kind of change my mind. I know I'm kind of laying out all my cards, but I think that's in the interest of transparency, which perhaps we didn't have at the outset. That's kind of where I stand. So, and Wade, I know I emailed this to you, and I don't expect you to have the answer in 2 hours, but is there any possibility for us to have some testing done by MDE, the authoritative source, to see if there are pesticides in our drinking water?
So I have an email right here from Kathy Mim that she sent in. Since 2002, MDE has been doing some random sampling, and we have 7 different pesticides in our water currently, or it's come and gone, I should say. So just like the scientists had said at the last meeting, it's not a long-lived thing. It's in the water maybe 2 or 3 months, and then it kind of is cyclical in that manner and goes out. But there are 7 contaminants that have been identified in the water. As far as doing a true test, I think they outlined it's going to be certain times of the year. You do it for a couple years and test for certain things. MDE will not do it for free. We'd have to put a program together and contract it out to have it done. And I don't have a price on that. Typically, MDE says, here's what you're going to sample for, and you have requirements that come down from EPA. PFAS is a prime example. We didn't test for it the last 15 years, and all of a sudden, MDE comes out and says, oh, you need to test for this. We wouldn't have known what to test for unless we were told to do so by EPA or another regulatory body.
And similarly, to kind of carry on that question, when we were learning more about the PFAS, we learned also that there was a minimum level in which was you didn't have to report if your level was below that, and then a level where if your test revealed PFAS above that level, you did have to report that. Are there such reporting levels for these various different pesticides?
There is. There's a goal that's set, and there's also a regulation that's set. If you exceed the regulation, you have to treat it or take it offline or something. If you go to the goal, which is typically the half of the MCL or maximum contaminant level, then you have to go through like quarterly sampling. We have several wells that are high in nitrates, or they meet the threshold of half of the MCL, and so we have to test those quarterly. So the same type of methodology works with pesticides also.
So does that imply that if you're below a certain level that it's safe, so to speak?
Well,
and if you're above a certain level, you have to remediate it, or
that is true. EPA sets those standards, and they're different around the world. I mean, the World Health Organization has different levels for radon and for other things that we have. Higher quantity we allow, higher threshold than what some other places do, which I find unique. But
yeah. That's the end of my questions, because I'm not even. I don't think I'm just informed enough to ask more intelligent questions, and then I think we should. If it's up to me, I think we should proceed with this quarterly testing. And I know you have to figure out budgeting and whatnot about how to make that happen. But it feels to me like if we were going to reverse any decision, we'd have to have very strong information. Overwhelming information to reverse. That's just the way I'm thinking about it.
Okay, Jeff, thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
your comments. Do you guys have questions for Jeff? Because he asked a couple good ones there. And I appreciate you coming back on email today so that Wade had a chance to prepare and be able to discuss it a little bit too. So, and Wade, appreciate the response. Other commissioners, anybody want to step up to the plate here? Talk about it?
I don't really want to, but I will.
I don't have questions for Jeff either. I just have
Yeah, no,
a
it's, you
summary
can,
of my
no,
thoughts.
Sarah,
Go
it's
ahead,
all
Martin,
yours.
You go first.
You go first. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I agree, Jim, that we did not share with the public a lot of the background research and communication that we were receiving from experts in that first meeting. And so I want to reiterate that I don't feel like we rushed into this. It is a topic that's been revisited multiple times, and the county adopted this 4 years ago. So we've also had a chance to kind of cautiously watch and learn from the rest of the county. And all of the evidence that we've been presented with, I mean, there's the overwhelming evidence of the negative impact of pesticides on human, animal health, drinking water, all of that. But another piece of evidence that I found very compelling was that residential pesticides account for a larger percentage of the, water contamination, like more than agricultural pesticide use. And I guess, so that's one of the big reasons why I feel strongly that we should not change our vote, but continue to adopt the ban for residential use. We have evidence that it impacts our water systems, and you've showed us evidence before, Wade, where there might even be more of an impact, like we don't even know what we're testing for yet. And so I feel like this is one of those areas where we should be cautious, because we may learn about more of the different compounds that are in these pesticides that we don't even know yet. And the one area that I would love for us to devote a lot more of our time and energy to, because to me, this feels like a very straightforward decision, given all of the evidence that we've been given. But I would love to start talking about, when it's appropriate, more of our process for how we're going to assist both our local businesses on that transition and what that plan is, and our businesses that sell pesticides currently. And then more of the community education part. I would love to work with Sustainable Poolesville and Poolesville Green. And I know there's some local, like Poolesville local gardeners clubs, to talk more, to have more educational programming around, encouraging biodiversity in yards and other ways to manage pests and learning more about our weeds. My friend has something quilted on her wall that says, "Weeds are friends too if you just get to know them." I am one of those people that grows dandelions and clovers in their grass because I think they're beautiful. So anyways, I would love to spend more time on the community education part of that and really see where we can step up to helping support our community and our local businesses in that way.
Martin?
Yeah, well, I kind of feel the same way as Jeff and Sarah, and I feel for you guys. Like I was telling Julie earlier that I was very impressed by her, 5 or 10 minute presentation last time. I actually learned a bunch of things, and I feel for those guys and small businesses, but I kind of keep track in my head about like how many people come to me on an issue for and against, and like a lot of residents have been come up to me kind of outraged, like why didn't we do this sooner? We should do it. We should have adopted it sooner. Don't get out of it. And then I weigh that, but I also weigh that we had a bunch of experts in here that I think sounded very qualified, and they were heavily in favor of keeping the ban adopted. And then our great town manager Wade Yost, and let me back up for a second. Anyone that has questions I would encourage you to go back and watch the meeting. It's not a short meeting, but if you can fast forward to the part about the pesticide stuff, and there's a lot of good information there. But in that meeting, we had a break after the pesticide stuff, and it's my mistake. I should have asked you for your town manager staff recommendation before that break, but I didn't anyway. But if anybody had left early or didn't see it, I take Wade's opinion very seriously, and Wade's looking at all these different things and evaluating. When Wade's been here a long time, and Wade knows water. And, Wade said that he recommends that we stay in it, and to me, that was, a very heavy recommendation, and I gave it a lot of weight, and so that's kind of where I stand. I think we should stay in it.
Very good. Ed, are you of commentary, sir?
Absolutely. And so I would start out with I agree with Mrs. Coleman's comments in terms of the way we roll things out. We could have done a much better job. I think that in terms of looking at how we're going to educate the community, I think that's very important. I think being able to have a smooth rollout is extremely important. And so I think that's an area where we dropped the ball. I think that nevertheless, though, I think the decision, especially after what I heard the other day from the experts that came out to speak, is that where I sit is I'm concerned because I don't want to do something that would endanger the health of the residents, and there's some unknowns that have not been proven to be 100% that there's no way that the water would be contaminated. And so if I could see any evidence that the water would not be contaminated, given the way our groundwater's set up, then I would be open to revisiting that piece. If there's a way, as Jeff was talking about earlier, if there was a way to run some type of test consistently that showed that there's no evidence of those pesticides in the water, then I think definitely looking at revisiting. But for right now, my position would stay the same because I'm not willing to take the risk. I don't want to gamble with the health of the people here in Poolesville.
Yeah, and that one thing I didn't say, and I agree with what you just said, Ed, is the educational component's going to be huge. I mean, that's something that that I think Julie had a great point about that, about how people are just going to without proper education, who knows what they're going to do with what they buy. So I think that's a very important component, educating people that, as far as we can tell, if you put this on your lawn, it could end up to some extent in your water supply. So please be mindful and, follow directions or whatever. I think that's very important.
Very good, everybody. I mean, I share your thoughts. I share your position as well. I do want to say that, and you guys know that I circulated this email prior to the meeting so that we could make sure that we had some talking points. So I've been working with Wade, and we came up with. This is a very brief rollout of the game plan, but assuming that we're the consensus, which looks like it, that we stay together on this in our current position, that easy to acknowledge we dropped the ball and we didn't roll out like we thought we could have, should have, and that's on all of us to do a better job. Town staff, commissioners, et cetera. We're not there. We appreciate that point being pointed out. Nobody is thin-skinned or thick-skinned enough to not recognize that we didn't do it the way that we probably should have done it. Sounds like that we're staying with this. So I wanted to make sure that we know that we have a better implementation coming. And it's basically going to be 4 prongs that's going to roll out as time goes on. One, we'll definitely do a social media campaign for education purposes. Town staff will work with us as well as Montgomery County. I'm going to get to the landscapers in a minute, you guys, to talk about making sure that our residents can respond properly and know what we did and why we did it, how they can deal with it. We're going to work with the county as well. Their messaging is important. They've done this already. I'm not saying it's been the most effective. They've had the most effective rollout either, but that's okay. Poolesville can come up with something that we know can work, and we'll work with the county as well on making sure that we stay kind of in line with what they've done. The county, so we've already had the representatives from the county here. They're going to come and meet with our local retailers as soon as possible, and potentially a couple times to make sure that they're going to talk to them about what kind of signage, what can be sold, more education, and then in the social media campaign, I think the biggest component to this is that we're going to ask our residents, who we have proven, as Martin has said, they have responded. When we asked about conservation, they conserved. There wasn't a big hubbub about that we've run out of water and why are we doing this and how come this happened too late. And, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. It hasn't rained and we need, the town is asking for your help. We're fighting PFAS. So we need conservation at times. That is going to be the way it works in Poolesville for a while. And this is the way it's going to work for us too, for the pesticide law. So I'm going to say that we will have to make sure, and this is an absolute priority, and I hope the landscapers are up for it. I know the Coolmans are in the audience, but we're going to not ask, but request that our residents go to our experts, who are the landscapers, and ask them about the best way to take care of their lawn and work with them to make sure that the goals that they're trying to achieve, that they would normally be achieving with pesticides, can be achieved to the best of the ability, cost, value, all those things. But we really want the landscapers to take a lead role, just like they've taken a lead role in this discussion. And we believe in them, and we believe in their contribution. And we're not saying that, we're not going to be the buffer to losing money or making money or somehow affecting the business realm, but we are saying that we only really truly have one set of experts at hand that are here all the time, and it's the landscapers. So I'm hopeful that they'll be excited about helping our residents as time goes on. Again, finally, the last component, education. Beyond what the landscapers are doing for us and speaking to their clients and getting more clients, I hope, is that it comes down to is that Town Hall will have seminars. We're going to do something, whether it's Zoom or something that goes hand in hand with our flyers, but we really are going to educate our residents on this, and it's going to be a difference maker. So for the time being, that's where I stand with it, and I think that's what we can implement. I don't want to propose something that we can't do. And I also wouldn't mind seeing if we had a higher degree of testing. It's one thing to talk the talk about like trying to provide safe water, but walking the walk means maybe that we do pay for a little higher level testing and then pay attention to what those results are. So I don't know if that would be our normal or not, but it's, we're already doing some heavy level testing for PFAS already. So anyway, that's where I stand on it.
Yeah,
Jeff has a question.
Jeff?
Yeah, if I may, and I should have brought this up earlier when I had my turn to ask some questions, but Wade, and remind me again, I know you probably told me this several times already, but how does this intersect or interweave with the Wellhead Protection Act?
The wellhead protection clause in our code book really speaks to uses, the storage of chemicals, that type of thing. It doesn't really talk about application.
Okay, so the Wellhead Protection Act is not necessarily that there's a ban on pesticides within 50 feet of a well, because just coincidentally, in the corner of my backyard is one of Poolesville's wells, and we have had a lawn service putting whatever on the front yard, but we've never allowed any kind of spray application of anything in the backyard, because I know that that's where the well is. So the Wellhead Protection Act doesn't really have any, it doesn't really regulate that you can't put pesticides down within a radius of your well. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Not application, more of uses, storage of, like you couldn't store it near a wellhead, anything like that.
I see. Okay, thank you. So it really doesn't intersect really that much at all then?
Nope.
The big pesticide ban and the Wellhead Protection Act. Okay, thanks, Wade.
Okay, thank you for that, Jeff. Is there any further questions amongst the commissioners? Anything for Wade, town staff? Audience, go ahead. Jeff, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, are we requesting Wade to proceed with spending money, taxpayers' money, to do a more detailed testing for pesticides in our drinking water? Or have we told Wade to proceed with that?
I think we should tell Wade to check it out and come back to us about what that's going to entail.
Research and find
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Again, our experts in the audience, you guys, thank you for everything you've done. I think we've had all the testimony we're going to have for now. We're hanging at status quo, it sounds like. And then we will always be open to talking about this a little more. Julie? You can come up, you guys. Since it's only 2, it's okay tonight.
For people to hear you on Zoom, yeah, come to the microphone.
So we just want to come and say thank you, honestly, for opening it up and reconsidering. I do think there's still a lot on your plates to reconsider. A lot of points I'm hearing tonight were actually counterintuitive to what I presented. One of those big things now is getting rid of the product on the properties. We haven't discussed that. The season's coming up soon. A lot of the retailers you have, a lot of the companies you have already stocked up for the next season preemptively to this decision being made. So I do think there does need to be,
Are you one of those companies?
well, yeah, you get offered discounts for certain times of year and stocking up before season begins. So a lot of us we're already prepared for that. So I do think that needs to be looked at.
I will say,
Giving people more information as far as not just education on what it takes, because to me, and for me, organic means getting out with your shovel, not putting down another product that organic, like I said, for weeds, the most spray is lead. It's not going to be good in our future as we look into that either. That product I do not prefer to use. I do not prefer it around my family. I wouldn't use it on my lawn. So some of these things are just as dangerous, and I don't think that was well absorbed, but it's true. So that information needs to get out there, very importantly, so someone doesn't hurt themselves.
I have a question for you before you go further. So are you, if we're requesting our residents to really approach our our area landscaping companies, of which we have several great ones, including you guys, obviously, this is something that you're prepared to offer that advice for, including, as you said, turning a shovel. And if this is what it takes under our new law, our new adoption of code, that you're prepared to potentially have your company help these people move on to this new era of lawn care.
Yes. So when Montgomery County took on this ban, and this was a question a couple years ago here in the town, I had an idea for how to do an organic lawn. Of course, you're going to have to deal with a lot of weeds, but the best way to do organic is, like Julie said, with organic, and organic is dirt and handwork. That's
Labor.
pretty much it. So that's kind of the route that we believe we might focus on, which is doing, organic like that, not bringing in new, what they call organic products that now have a danger label to them, a higher danger label than the pesticides that we're currently using. So that aside, I do myself want to say thank you all very much for the opportunity to allow us to approach you guys again about this after the decision was made, and to spend the time you did. I want to say thank you all very, very much. I too want to protect our town and our drinking water, because our drinking water has been a problem for a very long time. It's going to continue to be a problem. We have many other contributors to our water source besides the pesticides, which is a small fraction of what this town's going to deal with in their water issues. So, I think the pesticide ban decision was possibly made before the commissioners even knew the measurements of the pesticides in the water. So to keep saying water, 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 it's kind of my understanding that you guys don't even know the levels that are in the water to make this a new ban, to adopt this ban, to go this way. So that was one of my concerns. The other thing I would like to ask the commissioners is being the two golf courses close to here contribute to our aquifer, are they going to be addressed and asked to stop using the products they use? Because they use a lot of products and they put them down very heavy. So
I see that need being a natural outgrowth, pardon the expression, of this conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
my
we
fear
don't-
on that is this is your first leg step to go after the agricultural industry, farmers.
I don't see
And
that
we see what's
necessarily
going on
happening.
with that in Europe. I don't know if
Right.
anyone's following that.
No, but really, it's not like the town's going after anyone. The county has an ordinance and we're allowing them to have jurisdiction in our town. So I understand what you're saying, but yeah.
I understand, and again, we appreciate the time. Again, my points are simply that, as I hear you speak, I hear some things in contradiction to the science and stuff that has been proven to people who have done it and seen it down county.
On what she's saying is the product that was being mentioned consistently in the scientist testimony was glyphosate, Roundup, and that's still allowed to be used. So mostly all the science and the harms of that came from using Roundup, but we're still allowed to use Roundup. So, and then the labels on the organic products have a higher danger rating than the pesticides we currently use.
Right.
Yeah, that was,
So
I think you
the-
guys have done such a great job of pointing out the holes in this policy as it stands. Like, I learned more in that regard from your testimony on,
Yeah, me too.
on ways that they could do it better.
Yeah, me too.
And that's where, at this point, I think education could really come in and talking to our residents about using Roundup.
But the alternative is vinegar. And the percentage of vinegar will burn your skin. If you splash it, it gets into your eyes, will make you go blind. So
Well,
they're
or a
all-
shovel,
Right.
right? Like,
You know,
there's,
it's just, how are you gonna reach them? Who are you gonna reach? Because again, it's been 2 weeks since the last meeting. I can still run into the stores and see nothing. That should have been immediate. If the ban was there, the lady from the county was here, that should have been immediate. She should have been there Monday talking to Tractor Supply, no offense. But, you know, so this laissez-faire is just, you know, I think if we're serious about it, then let's get serious about it and provide
Right.
all of the education, the organic products versus the non-organic, because it can be just as dangerous. So nobody should get in their mind that it's safer. It's not.
right.
Again, my answer to my customers, and even for my own household, I don't use a lot of these products, is you're really concerned about it. The only true organic way is to get out there with a shovel, add more dirt and soil. You're going to deal with some weeds, and some of those things are going to change just with nature. So again, it's changing what people's expectations are. For a company, that's kind of hard because people already have standards of what they want. As you heard, the price for these organic products are 4 times as much. So for me to even understand that, to explain that is a whole nother education process for people to understand, because then we still have to pay our employees to apply it. We still have to make sure they have the correct PPE to apply it. And so this greatly raises our price, which isn't the biggest deal. The biggest deal is lowering the expectation of the outcome, because you're not going to get the same outcome. And again, we respect the fact that you all took a lot of time. I just hope while you're looking at all of these things, PFAS, pesticide, what it is, that you truly are looking at the bottom line science, but not just the science, but actually human behavior.
And the aesthetics behind it of what's going to change in our town with our lawns, you know.
Because
And we
human-
want a pretty town, and it's not that I want to contaminate our aquifer by using pesticides. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the ban on the pesticides and the use of the pesticides being something that could cause danger to our drinking water is a very minute issue compared to some of the other issues that the town faces with contaminations in our aquifer.
I think that's
And I think we will be addressing those as well.
Could I ask
Yeah.
one follow-up question? Given that you have gone through the licensing and training for how to like store, use, dispose pesticides, would you be a good resource for residents who may have
this
pesticide and
is
may
new-
want to ask you
is
how
new
to?
county question.
Okay,
This is new to us, so we're gonna have to go back and relearn everything again. So, I mean, it came
Yeah.
up very fast, there was no
Right.
time to plan, just like she was asking you about the products that we have now.
Sure.
That we need to dispose of. Wade, mentioned that, you know, when you adopted the ban, it was instant, so, you know, some of us are kinda,
I mean, for us,
Caught in
we
a
hope our
catch-22
vendors buy
here.
back, right? They want to
Sure.
keep us, so we're hoping they buy back and give us a credit going to other products should we need it. For customers at home, I have no idea. That's again, now you're not going from the EPA, you know, with a lot of things we hear, EPA with the water, EPA recommendations, you're deciding to go with the county recommendation now. So now you're gonna have to work with the county and get their recommendations, because I don't even know that they have
sure,
resource, you know, so that's, you know, something that's gonna have to be worked with them.
right,
We're prepared to,
yeah.
and we will.
yeah, we know you will. So thank you all
So
very,
again, we
very
just wanted
much.
to say thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
We can help
Really
turn the
appreciate
tide
it.
and keep you in
appreciate it.
business.
Huh?
Hope we can turn that tide and have people still coming to you.
So this wasn't mostly about business for us. It was protecting the customers that have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on trying to maintain their lawns and keep a pretty aesthetic outdoor appeal of their home, you know, and keep the values up. So, I mean, this is gonna drastically change, you know, the runoff water and issues like that, and that's gonna change as well. Like you said, about clover, I mean, clover comes in, grows, takes over a mass area, then dies off, and you have bare dirt for the winter. So, I mean, that's gonna be an issue as well. So, there's a lot of issues that are with this whole process that I don't think are being taken into account for the danger that is being projected to adopt this ban and for the county to put this ban in place. You know, cell phones, for example, they cause tons and tons of cancer. That's why I was carrying this, because I wanted to mention that, so if we're worried about cancer and harming people, let's get rid of these.
Well, we are,
And the
gonna-
towers up here in town that are.
we are going to ban those too, so. Yeah, that's the next thing.
Yeah, that'll happen. I think we all have one in our pocket.
how about
We're glued to
ban
them 24/7.
How about we ban them in schools? I could go for that.
I was,
Yeah, but it's funny how you go at the Montgomery County level when you start to ban something that has such a small fraction of health concern compared to this right here, what they're trying to feed in even our infants. So,
I mean, again, it's a misnomer that we were here because of business issues.
But we don't want your business to suffer is what we're saying back to you. We understand and we appreciate the expertise. Probably the highest level expertise we've got has come from you too. And we
you.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
thank you all very, very much.
Yeah.
Y'all
we
been
really
great
appreciate
to
you
work
guys.
with.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Wade.
Okay, there we have it, guys, as it stands for now. New business, historic downtown zoning. That is something that Martin raised up, and we've kind of had a little further discussion about it today, but you go ahead and take it from there, and I'll kind of
Well,
let you know.
I just thought that, there's a lot going on in our downtown area. There's going to be Riverworks. You got locals. You got some nice historic buildings, and that we should take a look at the zoning for that historic downtown area and figure out as a board what we want that to look like. For economic vitality, for bringing people out of town into Poolesville. Just to try to get a handle on it and make sure that if we don't want certain things there, that we can, and if it's legal, we can shape that and try to figure out just sort of how to, just, maybe it's good as it is, but just try to figure out what we want for it. I don't think I ever would have envisioned where it's at now, like 5 years ago, and things are really kind of happening, and I think I was hoping that we could agree to task Wade and/or Niles to look into some possibilities, what other towns our size are doing that have historic areas, and, just sort of see.
Before we go to the other commissioners for this, is the discussion. So when we were at Bobby's gathering today, Chuck Stump and I had a chance to have a conversation. We had it briefly with Wade and Jay as well. And you guys feel free to kick it in at any time. The discussion was tipped off by this, right? The topic itself. And I believe that after the comprehensive plan gets put in place, that I think the planning commission will be tasked to, or will desire to, look at zoning and code, I would say simultaneously, after we get our comprehensive plan in place, because you're going to put a comprehensive plan in place that's going to have a direction to it. So it's the implementation of that direction is what's going to be the next thing that should be tackled on your plate. So the point of having it here on the agenda is to highlight that that'll be something that, that we desire to have specifically looked at for our comprehensive, in the implementation of the comprehensive plan. And the comprehensive plan is going to, I would imagine, I haven't seen it yet, but it's going to call out the need for, again, a review of zoning and code. So, Wade, Niles, Jay, is this something that's can fit into what's going to be like phase one of us taking a hard look at the comprehensive plan as time
Oh, it
goes
will.
on?
We need to specifically, detail looking at it for a historic district. And there's a lot of things that fall into that category. Are you preserving buildings? Are you just talking about uses? Or are you talking about everything? So it's a big conversation really to have. And Jay, you could shed light on this for sure.
I mean, you're doing the groundwork first, which is, what do you want to see? What is this, what are you trying to accomplish, the intent? You can imagine you're doing that with words, right, and text that's going to come out of that. But then to implement it, you're going to have to do a comprehensive rezoning, which doesn't mean you have to change all the zoning in the town, but it means you have to look at all the zoning in the town to see, well, where would this fit? You kind of know the idea. But you can't just pick an area. You have to look at all the zoning in town as part of the process.
Okay.
And so most governments do the comprehensive plan, that sets your goal, and then they enact that by doing the comprehensive zoning and land use. So you're on track for it. It's just probably, the next car on the train track, I guess.
I love having Jay here. So Jay, go ahead and tell us, again, we spoke about this briefly today. Tell us how we've been doing it all wrong.
Okay. So the question was, so I want to repeat it, when he says, so this is how it is, and I said, well, Poolesville likes to do things the way Poolesville does, and that's not exactly how it's supposed to be done, but that's the way you've done it, and this isn't the first time I've told you don't do it that way, Ben, you still blow it off, so I'll say it again. That typically zoning laws are proposed, they're legislative changes made by the people who live here and are voted, and that's you all. So typically, you come up with the zoning law that you want to see. You do the work. Not necessarily you, but the staff does it for you. And it's put out there and introduced as an ordinance so the public can see what you're going to do. And then the planning commission is like the review body that makes a recommendation. So they take it and they look at it and they say, yeah, and that doesn't have to be a one meeting type of thing. But they usually, in other areas, they don't do that. They don't create it. So they make a recommendation, and then that recommendation comes back to you with the ordinance that you introduced. So they're saying, well, this is what you introduced. We like it. We don't like it. We think you should change this. And it's up to you all whether you change it, don't change it, or whatever. And then you adopt it. So if you can imagine, like if it was a diagram here, here, and here, the way you do it is you say, this is a great idea, work this out, and send it to us. So you get the idea.
I can see that. I can see why the right way that you're saying makes sense. I mean, like, anyway. Yeah, I got it.
Right. I mean, the idea is your
Right way,
policymakers, which are you all, if you say, we don't want to do this at all, we were elected by the citizens to decide we're not going to have high-density zoning downtown, so we're not going to even start the process and let anybody review because we're not going to do it.
Right.
Whereas in the way you do it is you're fielding all the balls instead of pitching the ball.
Yeah.
So, but we make it work because this is Poolesville and you like doing it that way. So-
We don't have to keep doing it
No, we don't have to do it that way.
Well, I think what you fell into in the past and what everybody's used to is that you all have to deal with so many issues like financing, water, all the things you deal with, whereas your planning commission deals just with land use issues. So aside from their expertise in it, they have more time because you have to deal with like all the issues in the Swiss Army knife and they only have to deal with one.
Right.
But what you were saying was that it's not necessarily us, it's actually town staff who would be doing the work, and that's part of their job description. It is their job, not volunteer, right? And then, so we're having a vision, they're coming up with what that vision might look like practically.
Right.
And
First,
then
we have
we're
to pull that
sending it-
vision out of you guys.
Right.
That's right.
That's right, that's a
Asking us the
task in
right
itself.
questions, yes. And then sending it to the planning commission, it sounds like more for like, I mean, you talked about them saying, we like this, don't like this, with some proposals, but my understanding is that really they're trained to enforce code. Like, they're almost like the legal review of the proposal.
I mean, they are giving the impact of what you all are proposing since they deal with, so let's say you said, we want to have, high density sets it off. We want to have high density development in a certain area. And the planning commission looks at it and says, we don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the water, the sewer, the this, the that. And we're going to come back and tell you that policy is flawed. And you can say, we don't care. The reality is, it's the same people doing the work. It's all on our end.
No, either way, yeah, Ron's gonna be the ones doing it.
I was
So it really
like,
doesn't matter.
they would already know all that.
But it creates a dynamic where you are a very collegial body with your planning commission. So when they come up with the idea and flesh it all out, just take this as a generality, you hate to disagree with their hard work because they spent so much time doing it. It should really be your hard work that they should be critiquing. Meaning, because you don't defer to the planning commission, they should be deferring to the policymakers. But like I said, we make it work. I mean, but I did point that out.
That sounds like a nice way of saying, like, you guys are full of something.
Right.
You
I
should do it
say
differently.
It's maybe not every year, but every couple of years that we say, well, it's like, you guys don't do it that right. Okay.
Well, we pay you fair money or whatever. Like, I'd like to hear I like these opinions,
Yes.
and like I would love to hear you if you think we should change the way we do things. Like, lay it out and tell us, and like you did tonight, and then I think commissioners, we should talk about whether he's right or not.
Right.
What you're proposing, Jay, sounds like it also would lend itself towards creating a more vision-based development process.
And I mean, I don't want to go all legal on you, because I try not to be the lawyer that throws that at
That's
you,
literally
okay?
your job.
But,
Go legal.
right, exactly. The planning commission is completely in charge of the comprehensive plan. When they finish the comprehensive plan, you get to say yay or nay. You don't even get to say, I like this or don't like this. It's either yes or no. So if the planning commission members who are not politicians running for office come up with the destiny, the goal, then the people who are running for office that are directly related to the citizens, you all, are the ones that help implement that goal. And so you can see, like, the planning
Are
commission.
you saying in other places, we would be in charge of the?
No, I'm telling you that that's how it's done. That's why the state law is supposed to work that way.
Oh, okay.
That if the planning commission creates the goal and has the authority to do that,
Okay.
then they don't have the implementation goal. It's separated. That you all have the implementation goal about how do you put zoning in place to carry that out.
That makes sense.
So,
What you've done is you,
Given them both.
But I guess I'm misunderstanding a little bit. When that plan comes to the commissioners, they can only say yes or no. They can't say no, but what we'd like you to change is one thing or something like that. Like what we have a concern about is this.
There will be an opportunity to comment on it.
Yeah, comment
whether
why you say no. You can look at the plan.
but they don't have to listen to you.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, this body's allowed to like critique like specific things that they don't feel like represents the vision or whatever.
Right. So you all
Okay.
have to
So that's-
adopt the plan.
Gotcha.
It's your job to adopt the plan. And you make it as the plan in front of you, yay or nay.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought. But I
But
wanted.
when you're reviewing it, you can come back and say, we really have a concern
Yeah.
in the plan.
Okay.
Read it different way. We're probably not going to adopt this if you don't address our concern.
Right, and I thought you were saying all you can say is yes or no, and that's it. You can't give any feedback. And I was like, oh, that's a problem.
No, what most governments run into is they're used to dealing with it like the zoning ordinances, where you can say, well, I had them look at it, but I'm a commissioner, so I want to change chapter 4, and we're gonna change it. You guys good with that? That can't happen.
Yeah.
So that's why you're giving them complete planning authority, right? And then you have complete implementation authority, and you're letting them comment on your implementation authority to make sure it's consistent with what they've directed the plan.
Gotcha.
I mean,
Okay.
ideally, but we
I wanna
can.
ask- I wa-
Jeff, go ahead.
I want to ask a question of Jay, because the planning commission is different than the Parks Board, for example. The Parks Board gets its authority from the commissioners. The commissioners create a Parks Board. But the planning commission gets its authority from the state of Maryland, not from the commissioners of Poolesville.
Correct.
So and I can see your point where things might appear to be upside down. Because normally the commissioners would give the planning commissioner marching orders, and they would come back and figure out how to do, whatever it is that the commissioner requested. But I don't quite see how the relationship between the commissioners who got their authority from the state and the planning board that also gets their authority from the state.
Well, I mean, you're correct in both those assumptions. The planning board has complete authority over planning and has a direct, so the town can decide it wants a planning commission or not. And you all decided at some past you did. Well, once you opted in, you get the powers that the state law gives the planning commission. You didn't create those powers. The state law is what has them. You get to decide how many members are on there, 3, 5, 7, but the state law tells you 3, 5, or 7. So you're basically picking off like a Chinese menu of what you want. And so to Jeff's question, they are the ones, then the state says, well, a vision of the town is best created by people who are appointed by you, because they're less beholding directly to, I mean, I'm generalizing here, but to promises to, hey, I'll take care of you by making sure the town's going to grow and annex this area in. It's
Sure.
one removed from that.
Reduces conflict of interest.
Exactly. But it still needs you all to adopt it, because you are the authority for this town. So that's what I guess is in the
It's the
realm of what we're
legislative
talking
side.
about. Right. You will eventually pass an ordinance that says, ordinance number XYZ, we are adopting the comprehensive plan for the town. Has to be done by you. Just like when you pass a zoning ordinance, XYZ, it's going to say, well, we have to have a public hearing. That public hearing occurs here. The planning commission has one too. They do it just as a courtesy, but the law says you all have to hear from the public, because you all are going to vote on that. And then you send it to the experts, the planning commission, and they look at it and say, we're not really comfortable with this, kind of a check and balance. But to Martin's point, when it comes back to you with the planning commission comments, you don't have to follow them, because it's purely legislative at that point in time. See, you opened up the rabbit hole.
And then, so.
My pleasure.
I'm gonna dig the hole even deeper and sideways a little bit. The other thing I was wondering is, and this is not a parking related necessarily thing, but it's my understanding that the old Methodist church that Riverworks bought, how do we handle zoning for like something that's not really a business, but it's not really a residence? It's more of a nonprofit community, sort of a community center, but not really a community center,
Well, in that case, we tried to find the closest use that was in our code book, and we sat down with it. I think we came up with cultural arts center or a theater.
Outdoor theater and theater.
So, and which it did, by definition, it was in those categories. But you're right, we really don't have a category.
I mean, this project is ambitious, and I guess we don't know if it's going to be funded or what's going to happen. But I hope it is. And should we think about having a separate zoning category for something that's kind of unique and but it's important to the town?
That's where we started, was the
Right.
town history thing, but take that off.
Did it go to the planning commission first? Just kidding.
This is a good example. So you say, okay, this is a really great need, but when you're talking about everything you said, when you were visualizing that, you were visualizing that place, right? You weren't visualizing places around town that might.
No, I was my first point was about the downtown area, not really even necessarily including that Riverworks thing.
Right, but I mean, when you're talking a community center arts work type thing.
Right. Yeah.
When your head said that's Riverworks.
Right.
When you're doing zoning and you do that, that would be the spot zoning.
Yeah, but it would be for if anyone else wants to open something like that too. It'd be like a new category, that wasn't written necessarily
Right.
specifically for them, but just for the kind of thing we didn't really realize we might have in
Right.
this town.
And that's what I'm saying. That's a similar thing. That this one is this one is the downtown history. This is the arts thing.
Alright.
It's a different intent. So you come up with the ideas, and then you have to change the colors of the map. It's about that simple.
Right.
When you change the colors of the map, you just can't go straight to that property and say, I'm changing that one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
To look at
Your zoning is-
everything.
Yeah, look
So
at
you got to
the
look at the whole
whole-
town.
the whole
And so in your example with we'll call it the private community center, something like that. You'd have to be saying, well, other places might want to do that. Where would that best be set out? And maybe you might not find any other spots, but you do it in response to the intent of the ordinance you're going to pass. So we had two examples, they do the same process.
And if we were doing it the right way, then we, like Martin would say, hey, I would really love a historic district or some plan for protecting historic homes or something.
Right.
And send that to Wade to review with town staff. And then they would come to us with a plan. We would then first review it, a proposal, and then send it to the planning commission.
Yes, because as Wade said, he's going to try to pull it out of you
Got it.
to put it into a format, make sure it's in the right format, and then we'll let the planning commission review that work.
Got it.
It's a subtle difference, but you see that
No, it's a-
you're
it's a
looking at
big
somebody
difference.
else's work product, not the elected official's work product,
Right.
so.
Well, I'm not one of those people who thinks because everyone else does it that way, we should. But in this case, it kind of makes sense. So.
And you get to do it either way. You're doing it on one side or the other,
Right.
right? So.
But the checks and balance part of it makes sense to me.
In the whole government scheme of things, it really does, because when you do your comp plan, you usually don't use zoning to describe what you're trying to do. There's a land use element in it, but you might say this area should be commercial. Coincidentally, you might have a commercial district, but yours might be downtown commercial, a historic commercial. There might be ways of implementing the general idea of commercial, and that's what you're trying to do, is take the plan and you implement it with more specific stuff.
Okay.
Anybody else? Does that do it for you?
I mean, so I guess we should probably have a consensus. Does anybody like the idea of taking a look at the historic downtown area and possibly restructuring the zoning a little bit to make it to safeguard some stuff and to try
I
to
would want to look at it, but look at the comprehensive plan first,
okay.
because some of that might already be embedded, because I haven't seen it yet, but some of that might be embedded in the plan.
Yeah.
Or some of it might be missing from the plan and it could enhance the plan.
Yeah, sure.
And then, so when it gets to us to say yay or nay, once we've had a chance to read over it, then within that commentary, yes, the yay, and I like this particular piece, or nay, because I think the comprehensive plan doesn't capture this historic piece, or, whatever it might be, but once we have a chance to review it, then I think we would have a more fruitful discussion.
Okay.
on
Yeah,
which
makes
way to
sense.
go.
Yeah, what I'm understanding is I think we've been in this place for about a year. The comprehensive plan is almost done, and so waiting for that vision part of it to be done, because from what I'm understanding from what Jay just said, looking at protecting historic buildings and potentially building a historic district or investing in creating a historic district is more of the implementation process. So we should wait for the plan, review that.
And to put the final point on it, it should match, right? I mean, because if you all come, and that's what always people, does this match the comprehensive plan?
Sure.
You came up with it, and I always use high density because people kind of freak out about that. If you came up, we're going to change the zoning and make it high density residential. The first thing we would do is go to the comprehensive plan and say, that's not what the comp plan was supposed to have here. And it doesn't match the comprehensive plan. And so you see what I'm saying, you need it in the plan first. So,
Okay.
good?
Yeah, that makes total sense, and so
Put a pin in it.
So we revisit this once the comp plan is out, and we've had a chance to look that over.
Put a push on the plan and let us see it.
Yeah.
No, I
So,
know you guys are.
Sarah, did you really mean, you've been hearing for a year that it's almost done? That's why he started laughing at me too. I was like, oh, yeah.
Not quite a year, 6 months.
She's been hearing for a year, she's been here for 6 months, waiting for the
We've heard
visual
it
of
longer
the
than
vision. But the bottom line, though, I guess we'll wait for the plan to come out.
Okay. Sounds good.
Good discussion, everybody. Thank you.
Wanted it to be on everyone's radar and something to start thinking about, and I don't even know what it would look like, but,
Someday I want to hear Jim's backstory on why we do the things the way we do.
Convenience.
Preferably sitting in a rocking chair, sharing stories about.
It's all comes down to, but see, no, here's the, yeah, right. The part of it is the timing of the comprehensive plan. So this is an opportune moment to revisit, because, we're operating as a body in between plans at other times.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why it's gone the direction that it's gone. We had the template already in place versus the template that's going to be potentially co-created with some of the goals.
Right.
So, anyway, so Jay, appreciate it. I said, glad you're here, and glad we were able to have that discussion earlier today. So, thank you for that. And everybody, and Martin, for bringing it up. Good conversation and good learning curve for everybody here. Before we go to the town manager's report, I did want to say that we talked about this on the fair access side, but as everybody knows, we actually have a new county council president coming. We also have a new county council vice president coming. It looks like it's going to be Andrew Friedson, who's been on our side for ever since he was elected. Dawn Lukey looks like she's going to be the vice president for the council. Another outstanding council member, somebody that has worked with Poolesville and can commiserate from us from a Laytonsville-ish perspective. So she knows what she's talking about in terms of the issues of the Ag Reserve. So potentially we have two great advocates being elevated to higher level positions at the county council. And I'm also, I think all of us can say that we've been appreciative of Evan Glass's leadership, and that he's done a very good job. And we're going to be looking for potentially more tailored to us and the Ag Reserve leadership coming up with this next election.
How
So
does the county council determine president and vice president, just out of curiosity? Is it like a vote or
Yeah.
rotating thing? It's a vote? Okay.
it's a vote, and they yeah, it doesn't have to rotate, but it does, especially when there's
Is it every year they?
yep. Yeah, and
Down a rabbit hole, but I just.
yeah, no, and the ascendancy usually is from vice president to president, but doesn't have to be. Again, it depends on what they have going on, and it hasn't always been that way, but it's the
Good choice.
yeah, the way this is set up right now. So, anyway, very, very good stuff, and said Dawn, quite the advocate, and good to see her potentially be the next council president. So, thanks for the reminder on that. I appreciate it. So, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's kick it over to staff for town manager's report.
Okay, just a couple things tonight. So we've been doing interviews all day today, and we'll do some tomorrow for the event coordinator and the assistant, front desk assistant, administrative assistant. We had quite a few applications come in, some really good candidates, so we're kind of weeding through those, and we've got some good people, it looks like, so
Good.
hopefully by next week or the week after, we narrow it down and fill those positions.
Great, thank you.
Halmos restroom replacement is underway. They've demolished the building, and the park, that area doesn't have power right now, so the tennis courts lights don't work, or basketball lights don't work, and we did put a notice out for that. And so the holiday lighting contest is December 15th through 17th, that weekend. 3 categories: traditional, contemporary, and best townhouse, with the winners from each side of Fisher Avenue, and then there's a best business also.
What are the 3 categories again?
Traditional, contemporary, best townhouse.
So I challenge, I am doing it right now. I'm opening another rabbit hole, and I just want the position.
of the planning commission?
No, I want the position of each commissioner to commit right now. And Martin, you can be the first.
I'm not voting for your house if that's what you're asking.
I don't want, no, it's okay. My truck will never win, I know this. White lights, traditional or contemporary? Answer.
I guess I would say traditional, but I haven't really
Yeah.
thought much about it.
Traditional is what comes to mind.
Sarah? Ed?
White lights?
White lights, traditional or contemporary? I'll get you, Ed. I'll bet
Go with the flow, Ed.
No, no, it's not my flow.
White lights?
White lights, are they contemporary or traditional? More contemporary, okay, more contemporary, lean that way. Jeff? White
Yeah,
lights.
well, now admittedly, when I was a child, that was 100 years ago.
You guys, quiet, hold
And
on.
we always had multicolored lights. So I consider multicolored lights to be traditional and only white lights, which we have in our home now, to be more modern.
Candles.
Oh, no, I'm gonna
People
get,
used to use candles.
I'm good to get to all you guys.
What do you guys, anybody
no,
with white lights?
I'll get the, in the audience, white lights, contemporary or traditional? If you're contemporary white lights, raise your hand. Oh, yeah.
For Jeff, I'm all defensive.
White, yeah.
I'm a past judge, and I use white as traditional.
See, and so did I.
I might have screwed up, so I don't know what to tell
If you look at that tree out there in the hallway, in the foyer, that looks more contemporary or traditional?
Traditional. See, traditional looks like there's little
Candles.
candles on the tree, like pre.
So I talked to the judges
50s and
today, because I knew this was gonna come.
Yeah, here we go.
All right?
Yes, go ahead.
Come on, wait.
So it's not only the color of the lights, like that tree has cards all over it and bells and things. That is traditional. Contemporary is going to be your blow-up things in the yards and that kind
Oh.
there you go, okay?
Oh. So you helped the committee, design, you helped the committee try to formulate their
I asked the question and it came.
criteria? Because see, this is a very, very, Niles, your answer, white lights, contemporary, traditional? Jay, I'm coming to you.
I would think that, I would go with traditional, I think. I think sort of for that same.
For the candle effect.
Candle effect.
Sarah's candle effect. Okay, Jay?
And I would go with traditional, but for Jeff's reason, because that's what we had in our house when we were kids.
Fair.
It was white lights all the time, and, we weren't allowed to have colored lights.
And Wade, Wade, what was yours growing up experience?
We didn't have lights.
So my family was so radical that if we had colored lights, we took out the white lights, and they were all only colored lights. So, and it still is that way. And so we have a blended house. So if you come to my house, the tree's got both white lights and colored lights that have the white lights taken out. So, and we were a judge too, like Tom, and we didn't have that. So I appreciate you getting with the crew today to have that conversation. So that makes a lot of sense. So we're not breaking it down by necessarily white or colored now. It's more the design theory behind the lights.
Whole ambiance of the decorations.
Okay.
They got a whole.
Very good. Okay, good. All right, so Martin, I know you're right. Anyway, thank you to everybody for your opinion. Coolmans, what were you guys on it?
Yeah, exactly.
My lights, a white to me is traditional, but my lights right now is whatever works in the box. And
Right.
that was my whole conversation today for 6 hours with my son. That's the way I go.
Pragmatic.
Yeah,
I like it.
Combo with these days.
right, Eddie, how did you raise her? Were it white lights or, you not, no? No, we're almost done. No, you guys can leave if you want to, we're almost done. All right, well, thank you everybody for the timeout. Go ahead, Wade, finish up your town manager report.
I'm finished.
Oh, that's it, all right, very good. All right, and any other comments? Motion to adjourn?
The answer is incandescent
Second.
versus LED lights.
There's a whole lot of rabbit holes. We're gonna call them mole holes.
There you go. There you
I
go.
want to know who still has incandescent.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn, we have a second? Second from Ed this time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are officially adjourned. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays.